You don't even feel it at first. It creeps in like fog, gentle, quiet, and soft around the edges. You wake up, brush your teeth, drink your coffee, scroll your phone. Another day begins. Another one slips through your fingers. You're functioning. But you're not living, you're moving, but there's no fire in your step, no risk, no edge, no ache that reminds you you're alive. Nietzsche saw this before anyone else dared to say it out loud. Most people are sleepwalking through life, not because they're lazy, not because they're incapable, but because they've traded meaning for safety. And that safety? It's a lie, a cage made of routines, expectations, and quiet despair. The world taught you to obey, to fit in, to chase approval, not purpose, to be liked, not to be whole. You were not taught how to live. You were taught how to comply. Nietzsche called it the morality of the herd, a life designed not for greatness, but for sameness, where stepping out of line isn't dangerous, it's forbidden, but deep down, you feel it. That subtle pull, that whisper in the back of your mind that says, you were meant for more, not more comfort, not more possessions, but more life, more truth, more fire, more of you. But here's the truth Nietzsche forces us to face. If you do not confront the emptiness, it will quietly consume you. If you do not rebel against the life that is slowly killing your spirit, you will one day look in the mirror and see a stranger staring back. A version of you shaped by fear, silence, and missed chances, and no one will save you from that. There is no guidebook, no guaranteed map, only the burning question. Are you willing to break free before it's too late? Because the tragedy is not death. The tragedy is reaching the end and realizing you never truly lived. Ending line, CTA for this section. If you're still breathing, then it's not too late to begin. It doesn't start with chains. It starts with questions, the kind that quietly whisper through your most silent moments. Why am I doing this? Whose life am I actually living? Is this really all there is? And instead of facing those questions, you scroll, you work, you eat, you run, you do anything to escape that burning feeling in your chest that says something's wrong, that this version of you isn't the one you were meant to become. Nietzsche believed the greatest struggle in life isn't against society or others or circumstance. It's against yourself. The part of you that wants to stay comfortable, the part that says, don't change. It's too risky. Stay where it's safe. You'll fail if you try. That voice sounds like protection, but it's actually the voice of your prison. Here's the cruel truth. Your greatest enemy wears your own face. It knows your fears. It knows your doubts. And it will whisper every excuse it can to keep you from becoming something greater. Nietzsche called it the internal war of becoming. To truly be free, you must be willing to destroy the version of you that was built by fear. And that isn't poetic. It's brutal. It's lonely. It's terrifying. But it's necessary. Because transformation never feels safe. It feels like dying. Because part of you is, when you start to change, the world resists. But worse, you resist. You'll want to go back to the predictable, back to the known. That's why so many never break free. They feel the call. They see the truth. But they retreat before they cross the line. They mistake discomfort for danger. But discomfort is not the enemy. It's the signal that you're leaving the cage. You won't be handed your new life. You'll have to tear it from the jaws of habit, fear, and approval. No one talks about how hard it is to unlearn obedience, to stand alone in your truth when everyone around you demands silence. But that's the price of freedom. You either pay it now or spend your life asking yourself why you didn't. Ending line, CTA for this section. Every time you hesitate, your old self wins. Don't let it survive another day. You're not here to blend in, Not here to follow orders, meet deadlines, or shrink yourself to fit into someone else's story. You were not born to be obedient. You were born to become something greater. Nietzsche didn't believe in salvation through gods. He believed in salvation through self-overcoming. He didn't ask you to follow a path. He asked you to burn your own. And at the center of his philosophy is one of the most misunderstood, powerful ideas ever spoken: the Übermensch, the Overman. To Nietzsche, the Übermensch is not a perfect human. It's not someone above others. It's someone above who they used to be. A human being who has looked directly into the void and chosen to create meaning anyway, not borrowed meaning, not inherited values, not second-hand beliefs, but something real, personal, unshakable. This is the person who refuses to live on autopilot, the one who destroys the old self with fire and builds the new self with blood. And here's what Nietzsche knew. Becoming that version of yourself won't feel good. It will feel like madness, isolation, rage, grief. Because you're not just leaving behind comfort. You're burying who you were told to be. You were told to be nice, to be small, to avoid conflict, follow rules, and seek approval. But none of those things create freedom. They create obedience. And Nietzsche didn't want obedient people. He wanted dangerous ones. People who could think for themselves, speak truth in a world of lies, and walk alone when others beg them to stay in line. That's the Übermensch, not a god, not a tyrant, but a human who has declared war on mediocrity and won. This path doesn't offer applause, it offers silence. It doesn't give you followers, it gives you scars. But every scar is proof you didn't just survive, you chose to evolve, because the old life will always call you back. But once you taste your own power, you'll never trade it again. Ending line, CTA for this section. The future belongs to those brave enough to create themselves from nothing. There comes a moment, a quiet moment that feels like the world has stopped spinning, like time itself has frozen. And in that moment, you realize something terrifying. You've been alive for years, but you haven't really been living. You've followed the script. You've checked the boxes. You've worn the mask so well that even you forgot it was a mask, and then it hits you. The life you've been protecting isn't yours. It was handed to you, built for you, designed by the world to make you normal, predictable, safe, and obedient, but not free. Friedrich Nietzsche didn't write to comfort you. He wrote to ignite you. He didn't want followers. He wanted fire starters, because deep down, Nietzsche knew the truth that most of us spend our entire lives avoiding. Freedom is not given. Freedom is taken, and taking it will cost you everything you thought you needed. Think about how much of your life is shaped by fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of failure. Fear of being different. Too much or not enough. You take jobs you don't care about. Nod during conversations you disagree with. Stay in relationships that suffocate your spirit, all to avoid the pain of being seen as wrong. But Nietzsche believed that the pain of being fake is far worse than the pain of being misunderstood. To live authentically is to risk exile. To live authentically is to say, this is who I am, and I would rather be alone in my truth than surrounded by people who only love my mask. That's why Nietzsche warned us, most people would rather be unhappy than uncertain, because uncertainty demands courage. It demands the willingness to be wrong, to fail, to start over. It demands rebellion, not against others, but against the version of yourself that has accepted the cage. Let's get brutally honest. You already know the life you're meant to leave behind. You feel it every time. You say yes when you want to scream no. Every time you numb yourself with distraction instead of facing what's real. Every time you abandon your own voice just to be liked. That's not life. That's performance. And Nietzsche believed that to perform through life is worse than death. Because you lose something you'll never get back. your soul. But here's where it shifts. Here's where everything changes, because you're not stuck. You're just scared, and beneath the fear is potential. Not the kind they sell in self-help books, but the kind that demands sacrifice. You want freedom? You must give up comfort. You want truth? You must give up belonging. You want to live? Then stop trying to fit in with people who are only alive in body, but dead in spirit. Nietzsche wrote, "Become who you are. Not who your parents wanted, not who society rewards, not who you were yesterday, but who you are, beneath all. The noise." This isn't a one-time decision. It's a war, a daily revolt against mediocrity, fear, and the slow death of playing small. You will lose people. You will lose approval, but you will find something sacred, yourself. And once you taste that, you won't care who walks away. So what does this look like? It looks like choosing solitude over fake connection. It looks like creating when no one is watching. It looks like speaking your truth when your voice shakes. It looks like walking away from everything that doesn't ignite your soul, even if it leaves you with nothing but silence. Because in that silence, you'll hear yourself again, and you'll remember. You were never meant to be tame. Nietzsche believed that suffering wasn't the enemy. He believed it was the path. The flames you're afraid of, they're the very fires that will forge you into who you were always meant to become. Because here's what no one tells you. You do not find yourself. You build yourself, brick by brick. Choice by choice, scar by scar, and you'll know you're on the right path not because it's easy, but because it demands everything. People will ask, why make it so hard on yourself? And you'll smile, because you'll finally understand. This is not hard. This is real. Pretending was hard. Hiding was hard. Lying to yourself every day just to be accepted. That was hard. This is freedom with teeth, the kind that makes your heart race, the kind that brings you alive. The world doesn't need more polite people. It needs people who have burned their masks, people who have walked through the fire and come out unchained. You have two choices: stay asleep, decorate the prison, and call it peace. Tear it all down, face the storm, and finally live. Nietzsche won't hold your hand, but he'll hand you a torch. And with that torch, you burn every lie that told you you couldn't. So here you are, at the edge. You can go back to comfort, to pretending, to the familiar pain that at least feels safe, or you can step forward, into the wild, into uncertainty, into yourself, not the version you show the world. Not the version others want from you, but the version that's been waiting, in silence, for you to finally choose it. You don't need more time. You don't need permission. You need courage, and the first act of courage, refusing to waste one more moment living a lie. Final one-line call to action, CTA. Burn the mask. Your real life begins where the lie ends.